And it's a very good morning to the Gelding on a special Australia Day version of That's Racing. Gelding, these midweek That's Racings, they're starting to stack up.
Good morning, Professor. Good morning to our listeners. Yeah, Professor, another midweek at Caulfield, in which we got a pretty good record midweek, Caulfield, haven't we?
Oh, well, the last time it was an excellent record, Gelding.
Yeah, so let's hope this is basically a Saturday meeting on Australia Day, and I wish everyone a happy Australia Day, Professor, and long may we continue to celebrate Australia Day on the 26th of January, Professor,
yes,
as we have for over 60 years
yes,
in our lifetimes.
Yeah, I don't intend to get into the political discussion of Australia Day, but hey, it's the law. It is Australia Day, so let's celebrate it.
Yeah. That's good. I had a very interesting topic on the radio on Australia Day. Sorry, I changed yesterday, Professor, suggesting maybe that Scott Morrison at the next election has a plebiscite on whether Australians would like to continue celebrating Australia Day on the 26th. And I'm sure the silent majority, Professor, that's not heard on TV or in protest, I think the vote may be, I heard they anticipated a vote, probably a 75% of people agreeing to it. So let's not get into that politics, but anyway,
all right,
all fun. Let's find some winners, Professor.
Yeah, as you said, Caulfield races today, Gelding. 8 races on the card. The feature races, obviously the Blue Diamond Prelude races at race 1 and race 2 that are valued at $200,000. The track's a good 4, but with all this heat, Gelding, that would certainly be upgraded during the day, you would have thought.
Oh, Professor, this will be upgraded too. If it's not a good 3 by 1:20 when the races run, it'll be a fast 2. I wouldn't be even surprised. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised later in the day with an upgrade, Professor, if a few horses are scratched because of the track. So again, as we try to say, we try to let our listeners be aware of potential things that could go wrong on the racecourse, so that could be a problem.
Yes, Gelding, and the rail's out 6 metres. In the warm-up before we went to air, you were having some thoughts about what that means for where to be running in the field today?
Oh, I think Caulfield with the track out on what I think will be a very fast track, Professor. I don't think I'd like to be making up ground at Caulfield today. So, Professor, I'll be looking for horses probably in the first 4 or 5 today.
All right, Gelding, what are your 2 best bets for today's races?
Well, Professor, as I said to you, I like watching the 2-year-olds race in the Blue Diamond Preludes. It's a previews today. Preludes in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. They normally throw up a winner, Professor, of the Blue Diamond. So I'm going with Damien Oliver in the first. Race 1, number 1, Philosophizer, which has already won at Caulfield. With Oliver on board, has a penalty of 2 kg for that win, Professor. But geez, it looked pretty impressive last time, Professor, and only in a 5-horse field. I think Damien Oliver can get the favourite home in the first. So, like to start off today, Professor, with race 1, number 1. My next tip will be one that we've been following since it's arrived in Australia, in race 6, number 4, Lighthouse. Again, worried about the hard track, but this horse has had 4 starts in Australia for 4 wins. Trained by the leading trainers Ma and Eustace, and ridden by the leading jockey in Jai McNeil, Professor. So, look, I think that's a pretty good recipe for winning on the punt. If you're backing good horses that win races and trained by the leading stables and ridden by the leading jockeys, you can do a lot worse than that, Professor.
I would have thought so. Gelding, do they like leading those horses?
Like in the small fields of 9, I think Lighthouse will be probably hoping to sit third or fourth. So coming around the turn, just be in that prime position, just to go 3 wide, Professor. And Philosophizer in the first, led throughout at its last start. So hopefully it can do it again over 1,000 metres.
That sounds like solid thinking there, Gelding.
And your tips, Professor?
All right, Gelding. I'm going later in the card today. First tip, race 7, horse 2, So Risque. It's a horse we've been on before. It's coming out of barrier 8 today. It's got a very good record, Gelding. 5 starts for 3 wins and 2 placings. So a 60% win rate, 100% place rate. So, you know, those things we always pay attention to. The horse is always in the money. So that's something for punters to pay attention to. Like the pedigree. So you think, not a bad horse, Gelding?
Oh, wouldn't you love to own a So You Think, Professor? 2 Cox plates, then brought overseas by Coolmore, and won 10 Group 1s over in Europe. God, what you just wonder what would have happened. Could this horse have broken Winx's record if it had stayed in Australia? Like, it won the Cox plate as a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. So I suppose the breeding barn was always beckoning, but well, yeah, Bart even trained it to run 3rd in a Melbourne Cup, Professor.
Yep.
So, you know, and it certainly wasn't bred to get the 2 miles.
No, you can't doubt the pedigree though. So it's won its last 2 starts, Gelding, and another filter of ticks for us. It's won over the distance. It's got the apprentice Josh Richards aboard, who's having a stellar season so far. His career win rate, Gelding, is 9%. Over the last 50, win rate 20%. You can't beat that, can you?
And still claiming 2 kg, Professor, to bring the horse's weight down to 59 kg.
Yeah. So
which will be very important today.
Yeah, you've taken all those things into account, Gelding, and out of the Hayes stable, they're back. So they're winning currently at about a 10% rate. So that's not too bad.
Yeah, the boys are coming.
Exactly. All right, my second choice, race 8, horse 9, coming out of barrier 8, Yonce. Also a horse with a good record so far, 2 wins out of 2 starts, so 100% win and place rate. It's got a last start win at Sandown Hillside, and it's won over the distance. John Allen aboard, one of the better jockeys. Career rate 15%, last 50, 22%. So I like those. I like to look at those things, Gelding, because it means you're picking somebody who's in form.
Oh, Professor, I like it. Trained by leading trainers, Mara and Eustace. 100% win rate from the 2 starts. Trained it beautifully, a made in the bush, then goes to a midweek. Now brings it to a major city meeting. Geez, it won impressively last up by just over 3 lengths, Professor. 3.5 lengths at Sandown, and geez, looked impressive.
Yes, Gelding, a horse you really can't go past, I would have thought. And you're right about Mar Eustace. Their win rating over their careers, 16%, but currently over the last 50, 24%. So the horse is in form, the jockey's in form, the trainer's in form. That's 3 pretty big ticks.
I think a very, very big ticks, Professor, and certainly do like our picks today, Professor.
Okay, the Professor's Parlay, Gelding.
Well, Professor, the very, very, very successful Professor's Parlay. Have you got anything to tell me after? I think we got the horse up on Saturday.
Yeah, we got Collingwood AFLW team up on Saturday as well. Saturday
So
afternoon.
we're coasting, aren't we?
Oh,
We're sitting on up to 3 to 1.
all we needed, Gelding, was Arsenal to beat Burnley, who are on the bottom of the ladder. And it ended in a 0-0 draw. And I sent you the stats during the week, Gelding. Arsenal had 71% of the possession during the game. Burnley only had one shot on goal. Arsenal had at least 8. What can you say? A game that Arsenal should have won, a parlay that should have got up. All I have is a piece of paper. So steering away from the soccer this weekend, Gelding.
Oh,
you'd be pleased to know.
Oh, thanks, Professor. I'm always joking here. I have to thank Christ for that. Oh, come on. Tell me the very, 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 very successful Professor's parlay. Okay. We've got to jump on board. And all we can say is, that's soccer, Professor.
Yeah, that's soccer. Not even that's racing. All right, Gelding, today's parlay, race 6, horse 4, Lighthouse. That's our agreed bet of the day. I'm going to find that horse hard to be beaten, especially given the form. It's one from the back. It's one from the front. It's doing everything right at $1.90. And let's parlay that into the Australian Open. Cooter will be happy about that.
Oh, another show with David, is it, or what, that you got tips from?
Oh, David had a big show on Sunday. You missed that one, Gelding, but David had a big show. He'd had a big night too.
Looking forward to Sunday's show, Professor.
All right, let's go women's singles to start. You can't go past the #1 seed, especially on Australia Day. Ash Barty, she's in stellar form, 9 wins from 9 starts during the 2022 season, and we'll tip her at seed #1 to beat the unseeded Madison Keys from the United States.
Yep. Yeah, like it, Professor. I think you've got the winner. I think you've also picked the winner of the ladies singles there.
All right, and let's parlay that into the men's singles. The #1 or the #2 seed in the tournament, #1 now that Djokovic isn't playing, and #2 in the world, Daniel Medvedev, to beat the Canadian Felix Auger-Aliassime. That's a mouthful.
That is very well done, Professor.
So, Gelding, the parlay showing 5-2.
Oh, that's a nice little wager, Professor. Hopefully, Lighthouse can do the right thing for us today, and then we've got a nice little watch in the tennis.
Yes, Gelding, I think,
which is coming to the exciting part.
Yeah, we are. We certainly the pointy end of the Australian Open, and we look forward to Ash winning in the singles, and Kyrgios and Kokkinakis still going in the doubles. So very rare that Australia have got 3 players going, and also Dylan Alcott in the wheelchair singles.
Yeah, can we quickly say congratulations to Dylan Alcott, Australian of the Year. I'm a bit peeved off. They say the first Australian year with a disability. Let's just say Dylan Alcott, Australia of the Year. He just brings Australian into light, puts it right up there. A very positive person. Disability or no disability, he still deserves to be Australian of the Year, Professor.
Yeah.
And a bit condescending that they mention it, I think.
Yeah, you're just Australian of the Year, aren't you?
Well, I would have thought so. When his record of what he's done and the encouragement and the support he gives people is just fantastic. And I just think to add that is a bit condescending.
Yeah. All right, Gelding. Well, before we finish today's show, what we would ask the people who are viewing to do is, #1, go to the YouTube page and like the show.
Yes.
#2, forward it on so other people can see it. #3, subscribe to the Sportsfan Radio channel on YouTube, and you'll be able to see and get notifications of That's Racing and also Sportsfan Radio when it's on.
And also, Professor, your show with Sarah in relation to women's football.
Yeah, the AFL also be show as well. So we've got plenty happening, Gelding.
Oh, Professor, 3 very good shows, I would have thought.
All right, Gelding. Well,
I think we're the most profitable one, though.
maybe the most popular and the most profitable, the 2P. Gelding. All right, Gelding, until
Beautiful,
Saturday,
Professor.
it's good luck.
And good punting.